Week of racing getting set for a start out at the Spa, and what a weekend ahead. Let's get up close and personal. Notable horses to win the Personal Ensign since 2013, and there's some pretty big names on this list, Caleb, going back to just 2023 when we saw Idiomatic.
That is an astonishing list. Royal Delta is in like my top 5 all-time favorite horses. She won not one but 2 Distaffs, and Saratoga has 2 key races that are without a doubt the #1 prep for their respective Breeders' Cup race. A couple weeks ago, we saw the 4-Star Dave. The 4-Star Dave has, for sure, been the best lead-in to the mile. This race right here that we're going to see this weekend, the Personal Ensign, as you can tell by this list, this has been the #1 lead-in to the Distaff. And again, the Distaff back in the 90s was won by Personal Ensign. She gets up by a long nose, and she never lost a race in her career.
Reigning Horse of the Year, Torpedo Anna, getting set to make her 5th start of the season. Look at that, 6-5, projected to be the one to beat, and rightfully so. She was a star going through 2024. She figured it out in that last effort over at Churchill Downs, and if she shows up, Caleb, just with her B stuff, likely could be enough.
Only bad race this year, had a whole list of excuses. The one thing I want to see in this race from Torpedo Anna, and I talked about this earlier in the week, Torpedo Anna reminds me a lot of the running style of Fierceness. Now, what they have in common is they don't necessarily need the lead, but they need to feel like they're in complete control. And that is sitting in second. And Torpedo Anna, every race this year, has sat in second. And she ends her races around the turn. She really, in my mind, glides through the second half of the stretch. She slams the door shut on the competition coming out of the far turn, and then she's just kind of, cruising through the lane. But Dubs, in this race specifically, I'm seeing a lot of fast horses, 3 or even 4. This is a chance for Torpedo Anna on Saturday to lay back to maybe 3rd or even 4th and come from further off the pace.
Horse of the Year, Torpedo Anna, ran the fastest career buyer right here at Saratoga, and the Travers 5 for 5 at the distance as well. You look at the field of 7, 5 of the 7 Grade 1 winners. So that tells us enough about quality. We've got last year's winner, Raging Sea, the 3 sitting at 5-1 for Chad Brown, who looks to be a massive factor.
Raging Sea, the last 2 years, has defeated the defending Distaff champion. Raging Sea beat Torpedo Anna this year, and last year, Raging Sea beat Idiomatic in this very race, the Personal Ensign. I am worried, though. This is a great setup for the 3. There's pace horses, and this horse is by Curlin and loves closing. The big problem is the numbers have fallen off, which is hard to believe when you start the year by beating the reigning horse of the year. But that win in the La Troyenne was only an 85 buyer, then goes to an 84 buyer and a disappointment, and then an even worse 76 buyer. So this is a horse that was really comfortably clicking off 90 buyers. Now we're in mid 80 land or even high 70. This horse, numbers-wise, has not moved forward this season.
Leslie's Rose is the 6th, sitting at 9-2. Comes in for trainer Todd Pletcher, gets Irad Ortiz back in the saddle. And if this filly can get out the starting gates, Caleb, she's a big problem.
She is very inconsistent, but I think the inconsistencies are easy to clean up because Leslie's Rose does not want to run on a sloppy racetrack. She's had 2 sloppy track efforts, Leslie's Rose. She finished basically dead last in the Kentucky Oaks over the slop, and then in the Ogden Phipps over the slop, she didn't even finish the race. But this was the race out of the Ogden Phipps. The sun was out, the track was fast, and she's back to her old ways, pulling away by 3+ with a career best speed figure.
Very competitive field going forward in this one. Saturday afternoon goes off as race number 9 out at the Spa. The Personal Ensign at 3:45 Eastern. You can see by the purple graphic, it's a Breeders' Cup win and you're in. Win this one and you're headed down to Del Mar.
And as good as Torpedo Anna is, I gotta say, these fillies in this key race, we showed you that long list of horses coming out of here to win the Distaff. But Seismic Beauty here on the West Coast for Baffert, that just won the Clement Hirsch, she's got the home court advantage. She just popped a 110 buyer. And Torpedo Anna, it's hard to get a read, honestly, on how good she could potentially be. Because speed figure-wise, she's 96, 93, 95. Those are good enough to beat these Distaffers this year. But she did give us the 111 in the Travers, and that was when she set down for everything she had. So maybe Torpedo Anna does truly have an extra 5 miles an hour on the fastball that she doesn't need to throw sometimes. But I don't think I would bank on her getting back to a 111. I think that she's the class of the field. But in terms of favoritism for the Distaff, I could well see our horse on the West Coast, Seismic Beauty, at this point being the favorite in this big race, even against a horse of the year.